We had Jason Fitz on earlier in the week, Kevin. He had a lot of interesting things to say because we've had for months now. For months now, we've had Bengals fans tell us that they believe Joe Burrow is going to give the team a nice little hometown discount. And, what's interesting about all this is, again, I understand why they said that, but I always wonder, too, were there Ravens fans out there that actually thought Lamar's going to give them a hometown discount? Like, that's what I'm really curious about. But interesting comments from ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz about this. Here's Jason Fitz when we talked initially about this idea of not just Joe Burrow, but any quarterback giving their team a hometown discount.
I've had our stats and info group lean into this all over the place. There is no proof that you actually need a quarterback on a deal of a contract to win a Super Bowl. None. If you want to be sustainably successful, your team needs to go out and draft well. Your team needs to do a smart job in free agency.
So with that being said, he said there's no proof of that. Now, I disagreed with him at first because I'm like, well, the way I view it is I look at teams with quarterbacks on rookie deals. The reason they're able to get to this deep in the playoffs consistently is because they have their money allocated everywhere else and not, a good chunk or the highest percent into one particular player, which is usually the quarterback once that happens. You look at the two teams that are in the Super Bowl or at least three of the four teams that were in the AFC NFC championship game. Three of them all had either quarterbacks on rookie deals or quarterbacks that did not absorb all of the cap hit. Patrick Mahomes, a little bit different story right now. And of course, but people say, well, that didn't impact them at all. I mean, they did have to lose Tyreek Hill. I mean, they did have to lose Tyreek Hill to make this work. Now, luckily they're back, but to Jason Fitz's point, Kev, they've drafted well. They've hit on draft picks. They've signed, Juju Smith-Schuster. That's not a blockbuster offseason free agent signing, but those moves worked. Right. They go and get Kadarius Toney. It's not a big time move, but those moves worked. You have to have good front office decisions when we're dealing with this. He would go on to weigh in more on this.
I'm just saying, from a monetary standpoint, Joe Burrow's agents should be smart enough to have the same information I have. And if they are, they're going to walk in and say, sorry, guys, there's no proof that he needs to take a team-friendly deal in order for this team to remain competitive. In fact, the third highest paid quarterback in the NFL next year by cap number, second highest or third highest next year, is going to be Patrick Mahomes. And nobody's going to count out the Chiefs. So if I'm Joe Burrow, I'm looking around saying, hey, I have a legacy. I'm winning in Cincinnati. That's impossible. So I don't need to turn around and do anything different for my legacy. All I need to do right now is get paid.
All he needs to do is get paid. So I like what he said there, too. If you're Joe Burrow, I'm hearing way too much about what Joe Burrow needs to do. And this is a good point, too. And, at a certain point, and by the way, I might be a hypocrite here because I always rip quarterbacks who get all the money in the world and then their team can't afford to put a winner around them. The difference is when Cleveland gets to that point, I'm sure I'll change my tune. For right now, though, I'm happy that the front office has a plan to be able to keep moving, restructuring this deal to keep guys. I mean, this is a team that they have a guy that's making the most money of all quarterbacks in the NFL. They have Amari Cooper. They're going after DeAndre Hopkins. They already have Nick Chubb, one of the best offensive lines in football. They have a ton of money invested on the defense. They have $40 million in cap space. They're going to keep spending. I love what the front office does with Cleveland. We'll see if they can get anything out of it over the next year or two. But what I keep hearing, Kev, is, and it's not just Joe Burrow, it's Lamar and others. Well, like for instance, what does Joe Burrow need to do to keep this team intact? Joe Burrow need to do a damn thing to keep this team intact. Why is it Joe Burrow's responsibility to get Jamar Chase paid? Here's Jamar Chase yesterday on the NFL Network, Kev, and talking about Joe Burrow's money. Here's Jamar Chase on NFL Network yesterday when he was asked about the long-term plans for Cincinnati and whether or not he sees himself in Cincinnati long-term.
At the end of the day, I don't think Joe's really too worried about how much money he's going to make because he's already making a tremendous amount. But it'll always work. It'll work out for itself. It'll always work out. I think Joe knows what he wants and how he wants to set up his contract to keep some of his weapons around him. And I think that's the biggest part for him.
So a couple things there. For one, Jamar Chase, who the hell are you to say, I think Joe Burrow makes enough money? That's not for you to decide, buddy. And even if Joe Burrow does go get the bag and takes everything that he has, that should go to him, that doesn't make him a bad person either. This idea that if Joe Burrow, surpasses Deshaun Watson in that fully guaranteed department, Kevin, now he's the highest, grossing quarterback in the NFL. That doesn't make him a bad person. That's the thing. But what this is doing is I believe in T. Higgins talking today about, I want to stay in Cincinnati long term. I have no problem with that. I don't really have a problem with what Jamar said. I'm pointing at the oddness of this, because while they feel like they're being supportive, they're actually putting Joe Burrow in a tough spot, because what they are doing is now look at all the goofy fans who are falling for this, Kev. Oh, Joe Burrow, he's going to work for peanuts, man. He's just going to sign some autographs and oh my gosh, my goodness. No. So what happens if he takes that fully guaranteed contract, Kev, because he deserves it, because that's what he should get? Is now he a bad guy? Is now Jamar Chase setting him up to look like a bad? I don't think that's what's happening, that he's setting him up, but I don't think they realize that they're setting him up to look like a bad guy if he takes what's coming to him. Kev, everyone we talked to, we just talked to Keyshawn Johnson. We just talked to Jason Fitz. Every time we have a guest on, Jay Will last week, they all just smirk at the idea that Joe Burrow is going to take less money to put weapons around him. It is not Joe Burrow's job to keep weapons around him. That is the silliest thing ever. And if Joe Burrow does that, then that means he doesn't trust his front office, Kev, because if he does that, that means he doesn't trust whatever makeshift GM they have to do enough to keep weapons around him once they pay him. Because if he did, he would say, I'm going to get my money and I have enough confidence in my front office to put weapons around me. If that's the case, then he doesn't trust them. It's a very weird situation. Your thoughts when you heard Jamar Chase's comments?
Oh, goodness.
Man. No, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
That's what I thought. That's what
water?
I thought. I thought, what are you doing talking about somebody else's money?
Yeah.
Dude, like, I get it. He's trying to tell the fans what they want to hear, but sometimes you just got to shut up. Sometimes you just got, hey, man, Joe's going to take care of his business, and I'm going to take care of mine, and our goal is to win a Super Bowl together. That's all true. That's not telling somebody a falsehood. You're saying, hey, Joe's going to do what he got to do. I'm going to do what I have to do. But our main goal is to remain with the Cincinnati Bengals and to bring a Super Bowl to Cincinnati. That's what you say, because that's the truth. You do want to remain the Cincinnati Bengal. You do want to remain playing with Joe Burrow. You do want to win a Super Bowl, but you still have to handle your business. So that's what I would prefer him say. Other guys that have talked about other people's money, Donovan McNabb talked about T.O.'s money. See how the locker room turned on him? Baker Mayfield talked about Duke Johnson's money. See how that worked out for him?
And that was just, in no offense to Duke Johnson, but that was just Duke Johnson. I mean, that's just,
Don't talk about other people's money. If you're talking about other people's money, it has to be in the same light that the Cincinnati Bengals players were talking about Jesse Bates and his money. Pay him. Pay my dude. We want him on the team. Pay him. That's how you talk about other people's money. You don't talk about other people's money as in them taking a discount or them not getting all of their money. That type of stuff is locker room stuff. That's stuff that keeps unity inside the locker room when everybody is on the same page about people getting paid. Because if you saying like, oh, he should take less money so I can get more, then what makes you more important than me? What makes you more important than the left tackle or the right tackle? Like, hey, everybody try to get as much as you possibly can, and we run it back and we try to win a Super Bowl. Way off base for Jamar Chase, talking about somebody else's money, talking about how much he already makes and how much more he's going to make off the field. Like they used to always irk me when they would talk about, especially like with LeBron and when he used to take like a little discount in Miami, whatever, like, well, he'll make it up off the court. What? No, you don't make it up off the court. Whatever you're going to make off the court, you're going to make that regardless because it's off the court. So that's why I had no problem when Kobe Bryant was over the hill and done, and he maxed out his contract and got every dollar he could from the Los Angeles Lakers. So if LeBron James decides to sign another contract with the Los Angeles Lakers and it's crazy numbers, no problem with it. No, dude, that's not their job. And I felt like this for a very long time. It's not my job to build the team. My job is to go out there and catch the ball, throw ball, put ball in basket, put hockey puck into the goal, whatever sport you play, hit home runs. And if I do that to the maximum of my potential and I'm one of the best players, I need to be compensated as such. And I don't want to hear anything about like, oh, man, take a hometown discount. Everybody out there is not built like Tom Brady. Everybody out there is not built like Tim Duncan. Those guys, I salute them. More power to you. But I ain't built like that. I'm going to need all my coins.
And keep in mind, we talk about Tom Brady as if he was drafted as Tom Brady. Like, he wasn't drafted as Tom Brady. Even after he won that first Super Bowl, Kev, let's be clear, even then, that was a great storyline, but it wasn't like Tom Brady was Tom Brady. Like Nick Foles, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Foles was a great storyline. But if Nick Foles would have continued winning Super Bowls or whatever, his what do you want to call it? It would have grown. The aura of him would have grown. Tom Brady, after beating the Rams in that very first Super Bowl, it wasn't like he was Tom Brady.
Right.
So when we talk about the money that Tom Brady got paid after that Super Bowl, he was viewed as a very, very good game managing quarterback. His stats never popped off the page. That's why people talk about Tom Brady all the time. He was never the best quarterback in the NFL. He was just the winningest, quarterback in the NFL. And that was very, very accurate. Now, as he got, into the league further, that's when his numbers exploded and the offense exploded and he became better. But so this idea that, Tom Brady did it right off the bat. Tom Brady, it was kind of easier for him to do it right off the bat because his skill wasn't at the level early on to say, I want paid what Peyton's getting paid. Hell, Dante Culpepper and all those guys back during that time, they were getting paid some serious bucks because Donovan, they were all really, really good quarterbacks. So that's where I'm at with it. It's different with Joe Burrow because he's a star right off the bat. And that's kind of where we're at with that. But the thing with Jamar Chase, you know what I haven't heard from Jamar Chase or T. Higgins or anyone else? It's one thing to say Joe Burrow has a plan, or I think Joe Burrow is going to have a plan with his money to keep weapons around him. What's your plan, Jamar? Instead of wasting everyone's time talking about what you think Joe Burrow needs to do to keep you and everyone around. So you're not going to request $30 million a year. You're not going to say, well, if Tyreek Hill is getting $30 million a year, I want $30 million. Are you going to shave a couple mil off of yours since you're over here telling Joe Burrow what he needs to do to keep you around? Because last time I checked, I think as a wide receiver, you're more dependent on the quarterback than the quarterback's dependent on you. And Patrick Mahomes is proof of that. So I want to start hearing what Jamar Chase plans on doing to make, whatever. All he had to say was, you know what? We all know what we have here is special. And it's going to take a lot to keep us around, and we're all willing to do what we need to try to keep this train rolling, and boom, off you go. Now, to be fair to the Bengals in Jamar Chase, I don't think there was any tone in his voice that had anything vindictive. I don't think he was there to put the pressure on Joe Burrow. I think this was what he said he probably shouldn't have said, but I don't think there was any intent behind it to come across that way. So I got to be fair. If I'm going to be this aggressive on the mic, I do want to be fair and say, I don't think he did this maliciously, Kev. I don't think that, but I also don't think we're spinning it. You said it. Keyshawn Johnson said today when he came on with it, don't talk about other people's money. It's that simple. And to Jason Fitt's point, it's not Joe Burrow's job to keep those dudes around. It is Joe Burrow's job to do what he has done to this point that's put him in position to go get that money. It's Duke Tobin or whatever imaginary GM that they have to get these deals done. They've drafted well. They've gotten great players in free agency. But as I've said, it's easy to draft well when you have the higher draft picks consistently for a couple years, which they've hit on, which built this team. It's easy to go get free agents when all your three top playmakers you got high in the draft because you won 2 in 4 games. So now you can go spend whatever you want. Go get any player you want. Well, now we got to find out about this Bengals portion of this run. Can they sustain it? Can they keep it? Can they move on from guys, bring guys in, replace them, and not miss a beat and keep going like the Chiefs are doing? That's where we're at. But to be fair to Jamar, Kev, because I did see Dustin Taylor, I don't think he meant it in the negative way it's being portrayed. What do you say to that?
What is he talking about then? Like there's a million different ways.
I think you're harder on this than I am.
Yes, dude, stop talking about people's money, dude.
Okay.
That is not cool. And like I said before, unless you are rooting for people, especially your teammates, to get paid, don't talk about people's money. It's plain and simple. That is an old rule. Like, this is not anything new. And if anybody's spinning it, he's smart enough because he's not a rookie. I mean, he's been in this league for 2 years now. He's seen everything that's going on with Jesse Bates. He's seen free agents come and go already. I mean, if Joe Burrow's taking a discount, does that mean he's taking a discount? Does T. Higgins take a discount? Everybody's just going to take a discount? If that's something they've collectively agreed upon, then more power to them. I salute them. I was like, wow, it's going to be a whole totally changing of the guard because let's just say this is fairy tale land. Fairy tale land. Joe Burrow, he says, I only need $30 million a year. And then T. Higgins was like, well, shoot. Well, if you only going to take 30, I'm only going to take 18. And then T. Higgins, well, if you're only going to take 18, I'll only take 16. We're all doomed. We're all doomed. If those 3 dudes pull a Tim Duncan, basically, we're doomed. We're never winning. Because if those elite players like that decide to basically play for half of what they're worth, then it's over for everybody because they'll stock up on players left and right.
Yeah, my favorite part about the Keyshawn joke, too, I don't know if you guys caught that, but by the way, 45 mil, that's not what, I mean, Joe Burrow's going to be That's the 45 mil is the discount. If he goes for 45 mil, which is what Mahomes is getting paid, I don't think Fitz said yesterday too. Actually, this is what Fitz had to say about the contract with Burrow as far as, where it goes within the division, as far as keeping it in pace, with what Deshaun Watson's getting paid. I think this part was interesting as well.
Like, if I'm Joe Burrow, the number starts where Deshaun Watson is, and it goes up from there. And there is no way I'm signing for $1 less, fully guaranteed, than a guy in my own division is getting that I'm better than right now. So that's just simple pride in what I do. And by the way, the economics don't prove that you can't do that and still win. So I'm sorry, Bengals fans. Like, everybody wants their quarterback to take a discount because we feel like that's the quarterback thing to do.
Well, interesting. So I say this because it's like the joke from Keyshawn earlier was, oh, yeah, because he caught me by surprise. I remember me and you looking at each other. They think he's going to take a discount. Oh, he's going to take a discount. He's going to take 42 instead of 45. There's your discount. Like, yeah, that's a discount. Couple million less. But what are you going to do with that extra $3 million? Add it to the 27 million that what's his name's going to want? Jamar Chase is going to want to be that third. Like I said, all I need Jamar to say is, hey, I think we're all, I'm willing to, be a little friendly with my deal if it means keeping some of these other guys in this locker room so we can keep achieving our goal, yada, yada. But no, he was saying what Joe Burrow needs to do to keep guys.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So I'm with you on that. So yeah, Doug Toby, Kev, he says, no worries. Burrow's going to get top 3 money. They're going to structure it to keep key players. It's not a hometown discount. Still getting top 3 money for a quarterback. Bengals front office, a lot smarter than some sports broadcasters or even us. Doug Toby, that's what the Browns did. And you said how stupid they are. The Browns signed Deshaun Watson. They gave it to him as a signing bonus. He had a $1 million salary last year, and y'all chalked it up to something else. But yes, all these teams are doing this. That's what the Bengals are going to do up front, but eventually you're kicking the can down the road. That's why some teams are getting bigger cap hits down the road because of the friendly stuff they're doing up front. The Chiefs will eat it here soon. The Browns are going to eat it here very, very soon as well, which is why their window is very, very small. But yeah, I agree. Joe Burrow signing this contract doesn't mean it's all doomed, but with the way the contracts work up front, you can't sign all 3 of those to max deals and just keep restructuring it and kicking it down the road.
Right.
Anyways, okay. I'm over that, but I did want to get it. Hearing Jamar Chase on that show yesterday as we went off the air, I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. But good stuff from Jason Fitz earlier in the week on this Joe Burrow thing as well. Yes, it's not Joe Burrow's job to keep this roster intact. Joe Burrow's talent is why he's going to get paid, and Joe Burrow's talent is why those guys should be taking discounts to play with him. That's just, we'll see what happens, but nonetheless. All right.